Welcome to the series Table for Two. Today is my special guest, Tim Corrigan. Tim, you've been in Brighton pretty much all your life, right?
About 57 years.
57 years.
Yep,
Okay,
all my life.
great. So, what was it like growing up as Tim Corrigan in the Corrigan family in Brighton?
Well, actually, it was a great upbringing, and Brighton was a great place to be raised and spend my childhood. I grew up pretty much at my dad's gas station. It was right over here at Liberty and Grand River in Brighton, the Sunoco station that he went in 1958 when he came to town and started in business. So I grew up pumping gas and renting U-Hauls and washing windshields and
The old-fashioned style
exactly.
of
Yep.
pulling up to the gas station and having that
Yep,
service.
it was a lot of fun and got to meet a lot of interesting people, and a lot of characters came through my dad's establishment through the years, I can assure you that.
Very good. Now, how did that process begin with your dad purchasing the gas station?
Well, I guess to give you maybe a little quick brief history on Corrigan Oil for that matter, my grandfather actually started out delivering ice and coal in the Dearborn area back in the 20s.
Wow.
He and his brother were in the moving business for a stint in the 30s during the Depression when people were having difficulties moving them around.
Mhm.
And in fact, my uncle was actually a chauffeur for Henry Ford.
Oh, wow.
But
Very interesting.
at any rate, as time went on, my uncle continued on in the moving business. My grandfather, as fuel oil furnaces and things came out, and so ice and stuff kind of went by the wayside, he started delivering heating oil. He did that in the Dearborn area until the early 70s when my grandmother took ill. But my dad came out to Brighton in 1958, same year he got married, and bought the station there, which was the Sunoco then from the Lanehart family. And same year that he married my mother. And as the
Well-
famous story always goes, the Chevrolet dealer was across the street. At that time, it was G.D. Van Camp. And he had an old tow truck out in front there. It was a 47 Chevy, and my dad traded my mom's car for it. So some may remember back in the day that tow truck that sat out there always said Bonnie on it because she always said that was her truck. So-
There you go. Very interesting. So you grew up in the oil business pretty much.
Absolutely. Yep.
Okay. And everybody's involved.
Yeah.
Brothers, do you
I have one
any
brother.
sisters?
It's just Mike and I.
Okay.
Mike's 2 years older than I. Which if we were standing right next to each other, it would be obvious. I wouldn't have to tell you he's older because I look so much younger.
Okay.
That's the point. But no.
So you're saying you're more handsome.
Well, not a lot to draw
Is
to
that
there
debatable?
between the two of us, but at any rate, no. So yeah, Mike graduated in 1980. I was in 1982, both from Brighton.
Right.
In fact, my mother's also a Brighton graduate. She's a lifelong resident. She graduated in 1950. My mother-in-law also, and my wife is a longtime Brighton resident and graduate.
Great.
She was class of 88.
Okay. Tell us about your mother. She is quite active woman.
She's very active, yeah. She's 89 years old now. Probably
Wow.
shouldn't tell that. People don't like to tell their age, but she's 89. She'll actually be 90 next March.
Okay.
And she's remained very active. My father passed. It'll be 5 years this coming January.
Wow.
And she's,
Already?
time flies. And
Yeah.
she's continued to be very active, does a lot down at the Chamber of Commerce. She's very close with Pam down there. She's in the Rotary. She does a lot.
Still driving?
Yep, still driving. She does a lot with her church, the First United Methodist. Still has quite a host of friends around town, some of which she's known all her life. And she has a group she goes to dinner with, weekly as she's able. And so all in all, yeah, she's done very well and stayed very active.
Great. And her health she's doing well?
Yep, she's a few little issues here and there as you do at that age, but she's still
Right.
motoring along pretty good.
That's great. That's great. We'll have to get her on the show sometime.
Yeah, I'm sure she'd like that.
I'm sure a lot of people would enjoy seeing your mom and hearing her. Tell us a little bit more about your father. When did he actually have this massive success that you guys have had in town here? Just great success with buildings that you've purchased and businesses that you have going very well today. How did that all begin? Was it like a family thing where, you all said, hey, let's do this, do that?
Well, I mean, one thing that my dad always had, and he instilled in both my brother and I, is a work ethic. I mean, there was no sitting around. You always were working and did things. Like I said, I grew up in the station when I was in high school. I used to get out about 1:30 in the afternoon. I'd be at the gas station at 2. I worked 2 to 6, usually Monday through Friday. Saturdays was 8 to 6, lest I had exams, you could take a day off. And in the summertime, we worked 60 plus hours a week. Did that freshman to senior year and onward.
Wow.
And
Almost like living on a farm.
pretty much, yeah. We did a little bit of that too, but at any rate, I would say that as time went on, my dad was very supportive of Mike and I as we decided to come into the business. And I always use the analogy, kind of threw us a football and kind of, let us run. And we worked together, as a team for many, many years to build and do the various different things that we've been fortunate enough to be able to do.
Great. Now you have donated quite a bit of money, I'm sure, to a lot of clubs and associations in Brighton and probably outside of Brighton. And many people appreciate that and appreciate that you've done that. Your family has been very supportive of many businesses and people, especially this hard time that we've had last year. And I'm sure many people would like to say thank you personally, and not have that chance because Tim's so busy. You may run into him, you may not, but this is your chance on this show. Below on comments, thank Tim or Mike or the whole family, because they sure have done a lot for Brighton, and we all appreciate it, myself included. So,
well, Mike, just to elaborate on what you're saying, that's very kind of you to say, and I don't think we've done anything that you shouldn't do when you're in a community and you're being involved in a community that has been particularly good to me and my family. I mean, I can't say enough about the people of Brighton and Livingston County in general, and the host of friends that I have been fortunate enough to have and continue to make new ones as I go. But I got a lot of really good, solid old friends and relationships, and it's very much appreciated, and the community has been very, very good to us.
yes, yeah. It's a great community. What do you like best about Brighton? What stands out the most? What's the one thing that says, man, Brighton's such an awesome town?
Wow, that's hard to sit there and bring it down to just one thing. I mean, again, I believe a lot of it is my friends and relationships, as I say, I've had for many, many years, and the cast of characters I've been able to interact with of all ages. When I was very young, I had a lot of people that were friends who were much older than I, and continue to do that today. Just I'm getting to be one of the little bit older ones now. That's the only difference. But I think just really the community in general has always been such a nice, pleasant place to be. Even though we've had a lot of growth in the community, which some like, some don't like, I know it's nothing that you can really prevent. So I think it's more important to embrace it, and I think that overall the community has done that. But it still has a small town effect in many, many ways, and it's home. I've lived on the same road my whole life. I've had 3 different addresses on the same road, so
okay.
It'll always be home, and I like it. It's very near and dear to my heart.
Yeah. A lot of times people will bring up like the 70s and 80s, when we were younger. And they always bring up the fact that, when you walked in town, people stopped, talked to you, smiled, and you still see that nowadays. I mean, a lot of people are on their phone and, they got their head in the phone down as they're walking and, don't always have that interaction with people. But I've always experienced the fact that people are just so loving in this town. The community always comes together, always pulls together for each other, and I still see that today.
Yeah, I would agree. There's still a lot of that in there, and I will say that I'm glad they didn't have the cell phones and all this when I was growing up, because I'm sure me and many who may watch this are stories that could be told that we just soon weren't told. And so it's glad we didn't have all that technology then. The only thing you had to worry about then is if your parents associated whatever. And I've always told the story that Sean Pipley's mother, Marge, and my mom were on the same bowling league. So if we were out on the weekend or whatever, we better make sure our stories matched up, because they'd be talking. So we had to make sure we were in sync with all that we did. So the town was a little bit different then for sure, but that was the type of thing we had to watch out for.
Great. So what was your favorite place to go to in Brighton? What was your go-to spot when you were a kid, say in your high school years?
Oh, wow. Well, probably in reality it was back of my dad's gas station on Friday and Saturday nights. That's where me and my friends always congregated. And quite frankly, we raised a fair amount of hell back there too. But that was probably a fun part of my youth that we had a lot of enjoyment with. But Really just downtown in general. It'd be tough for me to say there was just one in particular place. I've certainly always enjoyed a lot of the restaurants. I knew a lot of the old barkeeps and stuff around town back in the day. It was always fun to go in, and a lot of, we're good friends of the family.
Tell us about that barbershop that you visited quite often.
Oh, well, yeah, Mr. Ed's. Ed Gomez was a very, very good friend of mine. In fact, he cut my hair for 35 years from the time that I graduated until the time that he passed. I got the last haircut he gave. He was still cutting hair at home. And it was at Sue Halloran's graduation party that Ed was out there. He was at the party, and he was doing something. He was running one of those foggers or something out in the yard. And we got talking, and he said, "You got to come to my place for your haircut." And that was, 1982, and I went there until he passed away here, which was in, I think Ed's been gone. Well, he's been gone almost 5 years too.
I was going to say
my
it's
dad
right
went,
around
yeah.
the same time.
He was a character, a good guy. Him and his wife Joan, the entire family were really, really good people, and I just thought the world of Ed, and I miss him.
Right. And we say a special prayer today for Lisa that's been struggling with COVID, and she had to go through having a tracheotomy. No, is that?
Yeah, and Lisa's
I can't say the word, but
a
trach,
good
we'll
friend,
keep it at that.
real good friend as well.
Yeah, a good person. All the Gomez's nice people, and we miss that. He was one of the funniest men that I have ever run into. He had more jokes than I believe jokes were around back then. Every time I saw him, he had me cracking up laughing, and just all in all, nice.
Oh, he was a good guy. I had a lot of fun with him. There was plenty of stories that I could tell. But yeah, I sure enjoyed him.
We'll definitely have to cover those in another segment.
It would take a while.
Yeah.
So.
Well, for now, we got to pause for identification for our sponsorship with Big Cheese. We'll be back. Okay, we're back. Table for two with Tim Corrigan. Having an interesting conversation with Tim. Tim and I have known each other for quite a long time.
Long time, yeah.
40 some years. Tell us something about Tim that we don't know about.
That's a loaded.
What's a deep secret?
That's a loaded question there, Mike. I'm pretty much an open book. And some of those some of those who may be watching me may know something, and I won't particularly want them to share. And you know who you are out there, who I ran around with. But no, I really can't say there's any deep dark secrets or whatever. I kind of like to think that I wear my heart on my sleeve and do the best I can every day.
Right. Now, how does it feel to be recognized all the time? Is it uncomfortable, or are you pretty much used to it? I mean, everywhere you go, I'm sure in the state, probably recognizes you. Your trucks are all over the place, and just the name Corrigan, people know right away. Oil. Tell us about your life. What's Tim's life like in Brayton?
I would hope that in what you're referring to there, when I see that name, I hope that represents honesty, integrity, good service, and hard work, and all the things that the company is. Because here at Corrigan Oil, I mean, we've got, however we've grown a lot through the years, we still look at it as one big family, and we're here to support everyone that's here, whether it's one of the approximately 800 or so employees, it's the community, it's the right cause or whatever. And so I really hope that when, the type of recognition I hope that means is exactly what I just said.
Yeah, you guys have always had a good reputation. Never heard a bad word about your family. And if I did, I probably would dismiss it real quickly.
Well, I appreciate that.
So, what else have you gone through in this town let's cover the best day that Tim Corrigan has ever had. Coming to the office, what was your biggest surprise that happened? You know, maybe from your employees or some news that you got from a friend. What was that biggest day of your life, like winning the lotto?
Well, that again is a tough one to answer. You know, I can tell you that no matter what has ever happened through the years, it's like anything. There's good times and bad times, and every company has them, or situations and circumstances that come up. I think the thing that, and I couldn't pin it to just one in particular, but is probably the true grit of the employees, the people we work with here, to really dig in when the times are a little tough or going gets a little hard or there's an issue. Just that constant camaraderie and pulling together to get the job done. I'd say that it gives me a big sense of pride every day when that happens.
Now, how many employees do you have?
Right now, it's right around 800. Yeah, it was a little more than that, but we had some stores that we had divested a little while back because we were over 1,000, but right now about 800, I'd say. Yeah.
So you're all over the state?
Yeah.
Up north too, or just?
Yep, yeah, we'd probably go up as far as Rogers City and that area, offices in various places in the state, yep.
Okay, and how many gas stations do you have? I know you have 3 in town, right?
Well, we really, as far as just, sites that we're owning and operating right now, is down to about 4 because we did, got rid of a few here recently, so. But we supply a large amount. And supply and service is really what we specialize in.
Right.
Anyway, so we do supply quite a number.
And you do propane.
Propane, and we do propane from cylinder exchange to temp heat to residential, anything and everything to do with that. Towing, lubricants, what I call the tank wagon business, as delivering to what farms are still there, job sites, that type of thing. Commercial accounts, and obviously we have the transports that deliver the stations and commercial accounts as well.
Okay. Who is your longest standing employee that you have today?
Let me see. I think that'd be a gentleman by the name of Harry Miller that's been driving. He's been in here since about 1988. Tony DeAngelis, he's been here over 30 years.
Okay.
Tony, of course, is a longtime Brighton resident, and his kids, I'm sure you know, Vince, John, and Dave, and his daughter, Tony. Tony still works for us today. As a matter of fact, he's in his 80s and still in here every day. And his son, Johnny, and Vince both work with us as well.
So he's doing that in his retirement years?
He's never retired. Tony's got, no, he's worked hard all day, every day, all his life.
Well, here we are in our 60s. Well, I'm a little bit older than you.
Yeah, don't put me in the 60s yet. I'm still 57.
57? You're young.
That's it. Yeah, it's absolutely. You're right. It is young. Yeah, and 60's starting to look young too.
Who'd ever think that we'd get here that fast? I mean, you think about your high school days, and you're wanting to be an adult.
Well, I think of some of those high school days, and I'm glad I made it this far.
Exactly. We have been fortunate.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of our friends have passed, and this year, has been quite a few people that we've lost, and we are grateful that we had those people in our lives, and this time of year at Christmas, we're grateful to have each other, and have the friendship that we have, loyal friendship, trust. It means so much nowadays, telling the truth, being truthful, and caring. It's becoming a rare thing, it seems, these days. But Brighton's always pulled through with love, trust, honor, and dignity. And that's one thing I love about this town, and I'm sure Tim does too.
Oh, absolutely. No, again, like I said, there's still just a lot of very, very fine people here. And again, I've had the privilege to meet and work with a lot of them, do some things. I'm on the Downtown Development Authority, and, guys like Bob Herbst and been around here forever and a day, super guy, who's done a lot for the community.
Born and raised.
Yeah, I mean, given a lot, financially and of his time. I mean, the list goes, on and on. There's just a lot of great people here.
Right. It's a nice knit group that you have. with Bob and John Conley, and I'm sure others, Danny Myers, you know, just great people. But it's a nice group of people, all pretty much on the same page, always helping out Brighton people, and I'm sure others in the Livingston County area, and many people are grateful. Again, write down your comments. Don't be shy. Write down your comments, and Tim will see them and hopefully answer them. I know he's a busy guy, but I'm sure he always
Well,
finds...
I'm not a Facebooker though. I'll have to look
Oh,
at
you're
my
not a
wife's or
Facebooker.
somebody else's,
Okay.
but I'll look at hers and she'll tell me. So,
All right. As long as we get the relay, that's the
Yeah.
most important part.
So.
Well, we appreciate you giving your time today.
Thank you.
I know
Yeah.
how busy you are. We've tried back and forth to get together, and something's come up with me or you, and
Oh yeah.
finally we made it, and love to have you back.
Well, I'd love to do it, and the privilege has been all mine. I appreciate you
Well, thank
taking the time, and it's been very enjoyable. Thank you. Mhm.
Thank you for watching. This has been Table for Two with Tim Corrigan. Remember that we're on YouTube, so like, share, and most of all, subscribe.
Hi, I'm Mark Shea, and this is Body by Mark. Here we do a complete line of repairs, collision repairs, anything at all that happens in an accident, we can fix it. We also do restoration repairs, and there's not a lot of shops around here that do it. We're working on a 2009 Jeep Wrangler. It's a TJ, and we are replacing a frame rail, which is very common on these. If you need an estimate, I'll even come to your house and do it for you.